This is the Sluggo. Slant and go.
All right. Is it all I made it out to be?
Wonderful.
Hours and at least 5 seconds on that intro. So I hope you guys got a laugh out of it. And what I thought was, Casey's my hype man, so he's right there. I'm whispering to him about the show and how everything's good, and Locks is in the background pounding a beer. I thought, that's us. That's us.
It's pretty perfect. It's pretty perfect.
Spot on.
Hey, Beef, since we last talked to you, man, you've relocated to South Carolina, and now I think you've lived in South Carolina longer than I did when I was growing up. So how was the move, and how's it in the quote mansion in South Carolina?
It's great. It was a long time coming. I am known with my friends and family to do the longest moves ever. Move out of a place officially, but then stay in said place until the last possible moment. But yeah, we're here. We're having a good time. We're excited. My son was excited to have me back. So here we are. We're ready. Great week of college football. No
doubt. I saw you with the video of him in the pool, and he looked excited. And that's really cool. It took me back to my days with Parker. So that was really great to see. Locks, you were 3-0. It took you a year and a half. You finally lived up to your nickname. You are now in first place.
With some heavy wagering too, guys. So let's just not forget about that. Just kind of threw it all out there and nailed it. The University of South Carolina took care of business. There was never a doubt in my mind.
Don't you feel a little dirty getting first place off of South Carolina?
No, not at all. Actually, not at all. I thought about it for a second, but no, not at all. I just had to do it. Last second field goal. I mean, it was tremendous. It was in the bag the whole time.
Oh man, I was hoping that the Gamecocks lost for so many reasons, but the biggest one was that was your bet, right?
It was me. Yeah.
Yep. But you nailed it. You deserve all the kudos.
Great.
Enjoy your 1 week in first place, like Casey enjoyed his. Maybe I'll get a turn, but except I went the other way. I went the wrong way. I went down. Oh, since we last talked, fellas, University of Southern California had decided to part ways with Clay Helton. It seems like the consensus is this should have happened a long time ago, but apparently losing to Stanford's worse than all the other terrible losses they've had over the last few years, and that was the last straw. Names that are popping up for that is Luke Fickell, because he's tied, of course, to the AD, the new AD at Southern Cal, who hired him, I believe, at Cincinnati. James Franklin, of course, he's named for every big level job. Matt Kimball, same thing. He can't beat Iowa, but he's going to resurrect Southern Cal. And, of course, Tony Elliott, which, I know he's from California. I knew, he's from that general area. But just weird, Tony Elliott mentioned for the head coaching job at Southern California. Just names out there, and it's early in the process. But, Beef, your take on the firing and what's to come next for Southern Cal?
Yeah, this is one of those schools. I've been reading a lot on it actually this week. I don't know why, I kind of tripped on it, but what a lot of the local people are saying, and obviously so, they want a California guy. Doesn't have to be a Southern Cal guy, but they want a California guy. There's a certain breed that is able to recruit the LA area, which there's a lot of talent out there. Heck, we have two of those guys as Clemson people, in DJ and Bo Collins. So we see it. And Joseph Ngata, another one. So you're getting a lot of talent out of California. That's the word that they want right now. However, I saw a report today, again, really way too early. James Franklin is going to be the top name on that list, and he's already given his demands. Now let's step back and pump the brakes, because you've also heard Urban's name involved. You've heard Luke Fickell and his connection. We're going to hear all the names, and I'll be honest with you, there's some Clemson folks that are probably really pushing Tony Elliott's name towards Southern Cal after the first 2 weeks. I'm not one of them, but it should be fun because it's still a blue blood. USC's still a blue blood, and their next hire is going to be a big one. I feel bad for Clay Helton because, I mean, as with any coach, right, the players loved him, and he was able to recruit a little bit, but just wasn't getting it on the field.
Nothing against Tony Elliott. I'm not necessarily pushing him, but I mean, what doesn't fit there? You've got head coaches and some well-known head coaches, and a guy who's never been a head coach. Now, that didn't stop Dabo. That's what all the Clemson fans will tell me. But that's kind of like a moonshot, a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I cannot picture Southern California hiring somebody without head coaching experience. It could be wrong. Maybe they're looking for the fit more than they are the experience. Locks, what's your take on this job, this firing and this job?
The timing's just incredible. This is a team that came in preseason ranked. They're obviously have a pretty decent roster with a seasoned quarterback. They could have done something in the Pac-12, especially with Oregon beating Ohio State. It could, maybe got into the championship game. Who knows? I don't know. It just really surprised me. What are you doing now at week 2? I mean, so are you just mailing it in? It's crazy to me. So another name that I saw this afternoon on ESPN come up was Eric Bieniemy, the offense coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're all high on him right now too. So we'll see where that goes. But you've heard his name out there too. The same thing, like you said, Marty. No head coaching experience, but Southern California guy. So who knows what they'll do here.
Yeah, I heard somebody say right after this, if you were going to fire him in week 2, you should have fired him last December.
Right.
Started then. Now, of course, they get the head start on everyone else for next year, everyone except for Connecticut.
Right.
And maybe who's the other one we thought was going to get fired after the first week? I can't even remember now.
Nebraska.
Nebraska and Connecticut have a head start on them, but that's about it. It is weird for week 2. Like I said, what are they going to do for the rest of the year? And how's that going to affect their recruiting for next year or the coming year cycle? And, that could proliferate for several years, right? We've seen that at South Carolina, right? Once they fired Will Muschamp, the recruiting suffered, and it's going to be years before they can. Well, transfer portal helps, right? But still, it's going to be a while before they can reload. And go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want to say one interesting thing about this USC thing is that they hired cornerbacks coach Dante Williams to be the interim head coach and did not take one of the coordinators. It kind of can ring true or ring kind of familiar to Clemson people that Clemson went with the wide receivers coach and it worked out. So maybe in the back of the mind of the AD out there, maybe he's trying to catch lightning in a bottle here, but you never know. It was just interesting that he didn't go with a coordinator for interim and they went with the cornerbacks coach.
Yeah. Good luck catching lightning in the bottle like, Clemson has. And I heard the argument that what are they looking for? What are they expecting from the next coach? Are they expecting to move to the top of the food chain? They're a long way from that. It's been 15 years. What did he say? 15 years since they've been in an important game, basically a playoff type game since the Texas loss in 2005. I think it was January 2006. So it's been a long time, and people are still expecting to be at the top of the food chain, and they're not. And they're not because a lot of their players from Southern Cal are at Clemson, but also a lot, perfect segue, Casey, are at Oregon, leading the Ducks to a victory over Ohio State, which started out my week perfectly because it was a great start to the week for me. But I will say this, and everybody's assuming now that Oregon's going to win or going to make the playoff. Do you realize that Oregon's defense gave up 612 yards to Ohio State? Nobody's talking about. Now they were without Flo and another starter. So
Thibodeau.
Flo might be out for the season, but still 612 yards. Clemson didn't give up 612 yards to Ohio State in last year's playoff game, but I was wrong on Ohio State. They played 2 games, and we saw this in the shortened regular season last year, right? They didn't play really well during the regular season. Last year they slipped by. They didn't have any non-conference games. but Oregon jumped up and bit them at the horseshoe. Locks, your take. You're from Ohio. You love the Buckeyes. What's your take on this game?
It was wonderful. It was so good. It was fun. I was actually on the golf course while the game was on because I didn't expect a whole lot of the game, honestly. And you guys are texting me. Everybody's going, "Oh, they're up 2 touchdowns, 2 scores." I'm like, well, I mean, Ohio State's offense, we all know, it's pretty scary. They can come right back from that, but they just kept on pounding the football right up the gut, too. I mean, it just goes to show Minnesota did a really good job of exposing them, laid out a nice plan for whoever wants to play them the rest of the way until they find something to fill that middle of their defense there. I mean, they were ripping off runs for 20-plus yards over and over and over. So the blueprint's out there to beat them. This may not be their only loss. Who knows,
And Oregon ran – from what I was in and out, cutting the grass and doing different things, and
right.
And from what I saw, Oregon kept running the same play over and over, and Ohio State wasn't able to stop it. What I saw and what I heard, but man, I don't know. I don't know that Oregon's a playoff team, but what a performance! They had so many chances to blow it. It's easy to lay down. You're on the road and all that stuff, and you're a Pac-12 team, and you're quote soft. Oregon team did not look soft. I'll give them credit for that. They came to play. Beef, what's your take on this game and Ohio State going down in week 2?
Kind of a different way to look at it because I was actually listening to most of this game in my ride from New Jersey to South Carolina. And the thing in the pregame was that Kayvon Thibodeau, their All-American defensive end and leader, was out. And then Justin Flo, the freshman that Clemson fans, that name should ring in their ears. I don't know why I keep saying ring tonight, because he was between Oregon and Clemson, and ultimately decided Oregon. But those 2 guys missing, they said that they were going to have a lot of problems getting to C.J. Stroud, and according to the stats, they did. But the thing that they didn't mention before the game was C.J. Verdell was going to lead Oregon's rushing attack, and that kid ran for, I believe, over 200 yards or just had it. And they couldn't stop him. And even the announcers were laughing, just saying they're literally running the same play. They were just attacking the middle of the Ohio State line. And anytime Ohio State had an answer, Oregon came and answered again. Really exciting, even though I was listening to it, not watching it, I was still getting pumped. Maybe it's a little bit of my anti-bias towards Ohio State coming out. But anytime they lose, little side note too, I was in Charleston the last couple of days sitting at a pool. And a guy from Canton, Ohio said Oregon's winning the national championship. After talking to him, I'm not sure he's watched a down of college.
That's probably right. Kevron checks in. Kevron, we were worried about you a little bit, but you have checked in, and you're saying the firing of USC's football coach is too abrupt. And John Chansey checked in, and John says Bill O'Brien.
It's a good name.
As a Texans fan, you can have him.
We can have him, right?
Yeah. Oh, he was horrible. Maybe he was better at Penn State. Maybe he's a college-type coach. But, man, he was horrible with Deshaun and the Texans. The guy traded Nuke Hopkins for a bag of balls, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Another side note, it was great to see Kevron, his pictures being in Death Valley. So thanks for joining us tonight, Kevron. It was great to have you back in the Valley. Looking forward to seeing you again. Go ahead, Marty.
No doubt. I saw that picture also. So, Kevron, good to see you in the Valley.
He's a legend there, man. Like I'm so happy that he knows us.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Southern Cal, and this is what got Clay Helton fired. They lost to Stanford, and we've kind of hashed that over a little bit, but I wanted to bring it up because Stanford lost. No, wait a second. Now, who did Stanford lose to opening week? See, I can't even remember. No, they beat Vanderbilt, I think. I don't know. Anyway, Helton got fired because Southern Cal lost to Stanford. I think we beat that one to death a little bit here, and we'll move on. Notre Dame escapes Toledo. Now, Casey Powell texted us or messaged us and said he wasn't going to make the show tonight. Isn't that a coincidence? As they escaped Toledo. And that offensive line that he showed us the picture of with so many All-Americans on it couldn't block Toledo apparently, and had to get out by the skin of their teeth. What do you think about 28-26 Notre Dame win in the last minute over as you said, middling MAC team. I think is what you said.
I said, yeah, it could be worse. You could have lost to one of the top teams in the MAC conference. But yeah, we have a resident Notre Dame fan on my other outfit, Chop and Beef, and he predicted 8-4. And so Palk was all up in arms, and Palk may join us tomorrow night if we are able to do Chop and Beef to discuss it, to hash it out. So it might be fun to have JJ and Palk. Yeah, Notre Dame, because of my friendship with him, with Palk, I'm watching them a little bit more. I'm listening to them a little bit more. They were on the Catholic channel on the radio, which was fun. I watched them against Florida State, and that's the thing, right? Florida State then goes on to lose to Jacksonville State. So, transitive property is not really a thing in college football, but that's what people talk about. So they barely beat a Florida State team who lost to a 1AA team, and then now they win by 3. But if you're a Notre Dame fan, win in advance. In 9 weeks, if they're still undefeated, no one's going to remember that they only won by 3 against Toledo.
I will.
Oh, of course you will. I don't remember what I had for lunch today, so I'm not going to remember.
No doubt. Locks, what's your take on Notre Dame's first couple of games? Overtime in one after blowing an 18-point lead to a Florida State team, as Casey just said, and then a 2-point win over Toledo.
Well, typically, we see the 3:30 game or somewhere. The games are at weird times this past week. Clemson was at 5, and this was at 2:30, I think. And the 3:30 slot is usually pretty solid, but it just hasn't been the past 2 weeks. So I was searching for this game, and would it have counted if they had lost? Because you couldn't find this game anywhere.
It was on Peacock
or something, and the Catholic radio channel as you were listening on the way down, XM, which just makes me laugh so hard. Hey, you'd like to think that they're just going to look at 9-0 or whatever, which they're not going to be 9-0 the way this is going, but they will look at who they played and who they lost to. That's why they're, I think, still ranked 12th, 10th in the AP. Haven't jumped up too much. They just haven't shown a lot, They're a solid team. There's no doubt about it. I don't know who they have this week. Is it a ACC opponent this week? I'm not sure. But they're going to get into the meat of their schedule, and they'll find out real quick, Brian Kelly's obviously been there quite a while. Purdue. Okay. So, going Big Ten this week, see what they do. Who knows? I know nothing about Purdue. I also know nothing about Toledo.
Purdue and then Wisconsin next week.
Yeah, that could be a test. That could definitely be a test. That's big up there, too. Wisconsin, Notre Dame, not far away.
Well, Purdue is Chicago.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Purdue is ACC-ish, and they're part of the Alliance. Don't forget that.
Oh, geez.
Our Alliance brothers. We have to shout out to our Alliance brothers. Okay, A&M escapes Colorado in a 10-7 game that made Clemson and Georgia look like a score fest. They lost their quarterback, Haynes King, who I believe is out for a while, an extended period of time. I watched some of this game, and now I know how a lot of people felt watching Clemson and Georgia, because it was like a rock fight in this game. Did you guys see any of this? Locks, did you see any of this game being an SEC Hawk?
I watched the last quarter of it. I just wanted to see what was going to happen. I'm like, man, A&M goes down. We got some more openings up at the top, but big loss for the quarterback. A broken leg, I think, or something cracked. Yeah, it's not good. When Colorado was just taking advantage of everything they could, they just did not have enough gas in the tank, I guess. But A&M going forward, they got Alabama. They got the SEC West scheduled to contend with. I'm sure they're going to play Arkansas. Arkansas showed up out of nowhere this week. So I'm not a big A&M believer anymore. I don't know. SEC falling apart.
Beef, your take on the A&M game. I know you were probably, A&M, you were probably somewhere around Virginia when this game was going on.
I think I was, passing James Madison University. They had a home game that Saturday. But losing Haynes King is huge for them. And that game was literally, I had to turn it off because I would have fallen asleep behind the wheel. Colorado it sounded like they had zero offense whatsoever, and their defense kept stopping A&M and kept stopping them. And The backup for A&M, Zach Calzada, came in, scored it what I thought was a touchdown. I changed the station, come back, and it's still 7-3 Colorado. And I had to text you guys, like, what the heck just happened?
Fumbled it through the end zone. Yeah.
Because I thought they went up. But I was listening to the A&M feed of it, too, and their announcers were not excited when they scored that touchdown. They were just like, touchdown A&M. Like, I don't know if they knew it was doom and gloom or what, but lots going to be put on Zach Calzada. He has some experience. He didn't look like, or it didn't sound like they were going to allow him to throw the ball much last week. Just rely on Isaiah Spiller for them. But that defense is still really good for A&M. They'll have a shot, but I think they're in trouble without Haynes King, who was lighting it up for the first week, definitely. A little bit in the second game before he got hurt pretty early. But A&M's in trouble, I believe, with that schedule, like Block said.
And speaking of in trouble, this is we like to give Blocks a hard time about his SEC fandom. He changed his shirt this week because he's in first place. That's his first place shirt, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Wear it once a shirt.
But speaking of in trouble, Casey's a big Boston College fan, and he's a bigger Phil Jerkovic fan. And he's also hurt, and he's out for the season at Boston College, which really, really hurts that team moving forward, Beef. What's ahead for Boston College without Jerkovic?
Dennis Grosel is the quarterback that will take over for Jerkovic. He does have some experience. In fact, he came in against Clemson a year ago, so some Clemson fans may remember him when Jerkovic went out I think he got hit hard in the second half. And came in and actually set records for consecutive completions, I believe, against Clemson. But they're in trouble too. They're in trouble too. I mean, I can only put so much lipstick on this pig. Grosel is perfectly capable, but this Jerkovic was the leader of that offense and really had some excitement going in Boston. I have a few friends who have kids that go to school there. They were excited, thinking they were going to be able to compete with Clemson in a couple weeks. I think without the quarterback, they're going to struggle. Zay Flowers is still there. Their defense is still stout, and they're going to have a good offensive line. But without their gunslinger and the guy who really brought Clemson to the brink a year ago, I think they're going to struggle a little bit. I'm still high on them, but maybe an extra loss in there.
Well, the big advantage they have over A&M is they play in the ACC, right? Where it's a little bit different than playing in the SEC West when you're playing Duke and Wake and such.
Well, we were hoping as Clemson fans that they were going to be ranked at some point too. This put a big wrench into that.
Yeah. Well, I heard somebody today still pick them as 16-point favorites. One of the named folks picked them as a 16-point favorite, but they're playing Temple, I believe. So whatever that means. All right, Clemson and South Carolina State played last Saturday. Locks wanted to talk about this for 20 or 25 minutes, but I decided not to let that happen. I know Casey was on. Casey, were you home? Did you see any of this game?
My wife had it DVR'd for me because she didn't want me to sound like a moron coming onto this show.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did. Yes, okay. I did. And it's great how you can watch it and just fast forward 30 seconds, fast forward 30 seconds. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I know DJ's getting a lot. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, it just seemed like a pretty vanilla game. He still made some not so great throws and had an interception. And I don't know, kind of there. And maybe I'm missing Travis Etienne and maybe I'm missing Marty Rogers, but I'm just not really excited about what I'm seeing on the field. What about you, Beef?
Yeah, I had a Georgia Tech fan reach out to me and say, please don't score 73 on us this weekend. And I said, I'm not sure Clemson's capable of scoring 73 quite yet. Yeah. I said yet because I just don't feel like they are. They're not clicking and everything. The one thing that Clemson fans, especially myself, I'll talk for myself here, I wanted to see them run the football on Saturday. You knew the opponent was going to be, like Dabo said, there was a greater margin for error against South Carolina State than there was against Georgia. I wanted to see them run the ball, and they really did run the football well. All three guys that ran it for the most part. I'm missing Lynn J. Dixon. Apparently he's in the Love Shack, but Will Shipley looked good. Kobe Pace looked good in spurts. Phil Mafah looked good as well. I think that they needed that for their confidence, and they got it. As far as DJ, we forget as Clemson fans how much Deshaun Watson struggled at times, how much Trevor Lawrence struggled at times. We saw DJ at his pinnacle last year throwing for 500 yards against Notre Dame. So we know it can happen. I think that's where the expectations come. I think it's still in him. I do. And it may be some scheme. It may be some trying to get him appropriated to the receivers. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing. It's definitely some touch issues, no question. But once again, I said it last week. I'll say it again. RELAX, relax. They're definitely trying things. That at the end zone where he had that ball and he rifled it to Justin Ross. It was like you could have walked it to him. Stuff like that. That just maybe he got too excited and he just threw it hard. I don't know. And the interception went off Ross's hands, but he threw that 1,000 miles an hour too. So I think he just needs to settle down, relax. He's a little excited. There's fans and they're doing their paw thing. So watch out. I think Clemson will be just fine. I'm glad they're stepping up in competition this week to maybe test them a little bit. I'm not saying Georgia Tech has any shot, but what I'm saying is just a little bit of a test, more than South Carolina State would give.
Okay, Locks, now I know you didn't have a lot to say about this game, but in general, the first two games for Clemson, any big takeaways?
Well, we read in the preseason that DJ needed to work on the passes, short passes, 10 yards, 15-yard passes, because he has a rocket arm. I'm a little concerned that Justin Ross is not synced up with him because he is a lethal weapon. We all know that. I don't know. It seems like he has happy feet, from what I've seen in the pocket. He just can't get set and go. And like you said, the expectations from the Notre Dame game last year, I'm not expecting 500 yards, but I am expecting a confident quarterback that knows the playbook. Obviously, step right in with zero change, it seemed like, from Trevor Lawrence to a kid that you can't even pronounce his last name. The announcer still can't do it. But I'm just expecting a confident quarterback, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not seeing it so far. I'm not. And I hope it comes, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the plays have changed dramatically and he hasn't grasped it, or he's seeing something different on defenses, and that's what they're picking on, because I know that's what Georgia did. They changed the defenses up on him and he couldn't adjust. But like you said, little competition here. Maybe he'll settle in. I hope he does. I mean, he was my Heisman pick on here, and boy, am I just forward so far. Definitely an O for there, I think. So I don't know. The one thing I want to mention too is that Clemson now has a better loss than Ohio State.
Yes, that was my takeaway from the Ohio State game. Yeah, but I heard somebody argue that Oregon had the cleaner path to the playoff because of Clemson's schedule. So who knows? Yeah. We got 27 weeks of upset losses coming, so we'll see. But right now, it looks like Clemson has the better loss. I have the same takeaways as you guys. There's just something missing. I don't know what it is. I'm thinking maybe there's no Hunter Renfrow guy, there's no Amari Rodgers to pick up those third downs. I looked at the third downs, and Clemson's still doing pretty good at 44%. They're only like 29th in the nation. But I mean, one of those games is against South Carolina State. You would think they wouldn't have many third downs, and the ones they had, they would be converting them, and they converted nothing against Georgia basically. So I still don't know what to think of, but in the days past, and Casey's right, we forget the struggles of Deshaun and Trevor, that Trevor had, and even back to Taj Boyd when the Troy game was like 2 points at halftime and losing to Wofford in the third quarter or whatever it was, right? But so he still got time to grow. The expectations are huge though, so we'll see how that works out. And now, folks, Locks, Beef, it's time for everybody's favorite. I don't think you could have done any worse if you tried.
Well, I take that as a victory.
These guys are doing research, so why should I? Beef, you stink the most.
A true believer in what they're doing in North Carolina. That's why I'm picking Virginia Tech, Tennessee.
I love Spencer Rattler.
I agree with Marty.
I don't like this.
Look, you smell it, the backdoor cover.
Yes, and Locks is really thrilled here. I'm going to share my screen.
Let's see that graphic. Can you make that larger, Marty?
No, I can't.
Oh.
Literally, I don't know how. After 2 weeks, Zach Locks Parker finally lives up to his name, and he is 5-1 in first place. Casey is in second place by virtue of a tie, 3-2-1, and I'm pulling up the rear at 3-3. As far as the Bucks go, Zach Locks Parker took home $2,000 in Sluggo Bucks last week. He now has a net of $11,750. Casey's up $865, and let's not talk about my issues right now because I am going to stop screen sharing and let's get to our picks. Now, Locks, you are the winner of last week. You are the leader. So do you want to go first or do you want to hear some horrible picks before you make your horrible picks?
I definitely want to go last. So proceed, gentlemen.
Casey, you're in second place. You want me to go to first or you want to go?
You can go first, Marty.
All right. Not that you're going to copy my picks or anything because you guys laughed at me when I locked them in. But the Michigan State Spartans traveled to, I don't even know where Miami is. Miami Beach Gardens or wherever the heck they are.
Coral Gables.
They traveled to Coral Gables and they are 6.5-point underdogs to the Miami Hurricanes. My question is why? Miami got crushed by Alabama. Now, I know Michigan State is not Alabama, but Miami also needed a last-minute field goal or last-minute-ish field goal to beat Appalachian State. Look, there's going to be one team that's going to be excited to be playing at noon in Coral Gables on Saturday, and it's going to be Michigan State. They're 2-0, beat Northwestern, whatever. Not the hardest schedule in the world. But I think Michigan State is going to be more physical than Miami. And I don't think – and I sent you guys a clip from the podcast from Stanford Steve and the Bear. And even the Bear, a Miami graduate, says something is wrong in Coral Gables. Something's wrong with that team. You know what's wrong with that team? Manny Diaz. Beef knows this from last year. Not
full
my favorite,
circle, baby.
not my favorite coach. But I'm not even taking the 6.5. I'm going to put 400 Sluggo Bucks on the money line plus 205. Michigan State, how do they say? Wrong team is favored, and this will be headed – or not headed. It will be staying in Kyle, Texas. All right, Beef. Michigan State plus 205 on the money line, 400 Sluggo Bucks. What do you got for your first bet, Beef?
I like that you're finally moving up you're reaching a little deeper into the pockets this week than normal.
I bet $1.50 on.
Well, my first pick, I'm actually going to go pretty large as well. I'm going Oklahoma minus 22. I just think that they're going scorched earth the remainder of the season. They've had a couple games in a row where they've been – Spencer Rattler's had his struggles as well. So I'm going 465 Sluggo Bucks. That's right, because I only like zeros. 465 Sluggo Bucks. Because I need to get that 865. I need to get that 865 out of there. On Oklahoma minus 110, minus 22-point favorites.
Don't worry, Beef. I got one of those coming too. I got one of those weird numbers coming. Locks, what's your first?
I learned it from watching you.
Lose real money. Locks, what's your first pick?
My first pick is going to be the Maryland Terrapins, the Dirty Terps, as Scott Van Pelt always says, minus 7.5 points. I don't feel great about this pick. I'm not going to lie. I don't. I locked in my first two that we'll get to soon, very early on Sunday, and just searched for the rest of the week. And pretty sure I selected this one last night on the way home from a bar. So now I'm stuck with it. I will take Maryland to cover for 250. That is all.
250 Sluggo Bucks. And you realize you're betting on Mike Lossley, who I think is like 9-61 in his career, right? So Good luck with that.
Thanks.
All right. All right, my second pick is going to be the Cincinnati Bearcats, a 3.5-point favorites over you guys' favorite quarterback, or the Chop and Beef's favorite quarterback, Michael Penix and the Indiana Hoosiers. I think this is where Cincinnati makes their name, right? They're looking forward to Notre Dame in a couple of weeks, but this is a chance to beat a Big Ten team. 3.5 points favorites. I'm a little worried about the hook. I'm a little bit worried about Luke Fickell looking at houses on Zillow in Southern California. But all in all, hey, look, this is a win for me either way. I might lose a few Sluggo bucks, but I won't have to hear about Cincinnati anymore if they don't win. So I'm going to take Cincinnati for, and this is going to kill locks, 456 Sluggo bucks. The 456 Sluggo bucks for me on Cincinnati minus 3.5. Casey the Beef Creek and pick number 2.
I'm going. You're going to hear this game, I think, again, except my number is a lot different than Lox's, so his bookie's better than mine. I'm going Coastal Carolina minus 13.5 as they play. Oh my God, who are supposed to play? Sorry, excuse me. 1-1 Buffalo, the Bulls from Buffalo. At Buffalo, two touchdowns. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns. I'm okay. That hook again, like Marty was talking about with the Cincinnati game, always scares you. It's there for a reason. But I'm going 400 Sluggo bucks on Coastal Carolina, the Dirty Mullets to cover 13.5 points.
Everybody you guys pick is dirty. So that's
good to see Anthony Weeks check it in. Good to see you, pal. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for checking in here.
Anthony Weeks checks in and asks how we're doing. We're doing good. Casey's moved to South Carolina. Locks is getting over a night on the town, and I'm in last place. But other than that, things are working out fine, Anthony. Good to see you. Appreciate you tuning in. Locks, your second pick.
I also locked in the Coastal Carolina game, but I got it at 11 points on Sunday. And that line has increased to a total of 14 now. So, Beef, you still got it a half point below. So the line trending the way it is, I think this is a blowout. I don't care if it's at Buffalo. It's still Buffalo. I'm putting down 750 on Coastal. They're my new little love child here. I watched them on Friday night, squirming in my seat as they covered in the last possession. So it was fun to watch. They have a great offense, fun to watch team. So 750 for me on Coastal.
You know what they say, when you're riding a winning streak like Coastal, you can win a lot and you only lose once, and then you jump right off the train. So
that's right.
I think it's a smart bet by you guys, as much as I was giving you grief about it earlier. And I can't believe, Locks, you're in first place and you're copying Beef's bets and taking his bets from me. All right. I'm going out on a limb here on this third bet. Clemson and Georgia Tech. Over-under is 52, and it's minus 108. Now, you may be saying, what exactly is he thinking here? And because I'm saying it to myself. But I thought about this, and I thought, is Georgia Tech really going to score? I mean, Clemson hasn't given up a touchdown yet. I realize, Georgia's offense was one thing. And is Georgia Tech's offense any better than Georgia's? Now, we know South Carolina State wasn't a contest. So I don't know, and maybe they do score a turnover or whatever, and they get a cheap 7, either a pick 6 or maybe somewhere close to the goal line. I can't see Georgia Tech hitting double figures. And we talked about the struggle with the Clemson offense a little earlier. I'm thinking, and the other point is, I bet DJ comes out early to avoid an injury if it's, say, 34-7 in the third quarter. I don't think he's going to play a lot in the second half if the score gets around there. It's a tough one to sell, but I think because of Clemson's defense, I don't think Georgia Tech's going to score more than 7, maybe 10. And I don't think the Clemson offense is at a place now where we can expect them to score 42. They may. If Clemson scores a defensive touchdown, I'm in trouble here. But I'm going to take the under Clemson, Georgia Tech, the under 52. And I'm going to show my confidence by doing 250.
That's what I was wondering.
And that's minus 108. Beef, your third and final pick.
Yeah, I'm going to arguably one of the games of the week, if not the game of the week, at least on paper. It's Penn State Auburn in Happy Valley. SEC rarely goes anywhere to a Power 5 on the road ever. I think this is the first time since like 2012 that an SEC team has gone to a Big Ten team on the road. The over-unders, I locked it in at 53. And so with these two vaunted offenses, Brian Harrison in his first season, it's not Gus Malzahn's offense. And James Franklin is, I think he gets $1 million for every point he scores. So he's getting a lot of money, but it's not what they should. Anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. I apologize. But like Marty said, with my confidence level on this one, I'm taking the under 53 for 250 Sluggo bucks.
250 Sluggo bucks. That's nice, Case. All right, Locks, you have the pleasure of wrapping this puppy up for us.
Yeah, I had to go back to my SEC roots here. I like you guys are getting in on the over-unders finally, right? Yeah, I've gotten 3 of those.
We about outlawed them,
Yeah, you tried to. So that's 3 of my 5 I've gotten have been over-unders. So
we've learned from the doctor, Dr. Locks.
Excuse me. I'm gonna jump into the Alabama-Florida game. Again, another fantastic Sunday lock in for me at 50. Right now it's at 59.5, trending upward even. I think that someone made a typo when they originally released this. Either way, if Bama holds Florida, I still think they're going to thrash them and rub it in. I don't care if it's in the swamp. Even if it is, that means Florida might score some more. I think you're looking at about 70 points total for this game, just off the top of my head. So put me down for 500 on this one on the over.
Over. Let me change the marquee here.
Keep on trying to guess me, Marty. I screw you up on this.
I know.
Yeah.
I was telling Beef before you joined. Does that look right? Bama, Florida over 57, or was it different?
Yes, sir.
56.
Oh, dang it. I tried to get that extra point in there.
It is at Florida, too, Locke. So
yeah,
it's in the swamp. It's going to be balmy 100-degree weather.
Be gross.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Locks. How much was it? 700?
750.
750 Sluggo bucks. Okay.
Wait. On that one, no. 750 on Coastal, 500 on Bama. Sorry.
500. No worries.
Yeah.
No worries. 500 on Bama. All right. Let's review real quick. Marty, Michigan State money line plus 205, $400 on that one. That's how I'm going to make up the difference here. Cincinnati minus 3.5, minus 114. 456 Sluggo bucks. Can't even read. Clemson, Georgia Tech. I'm taking the under 52 for 250 Sluggo bucks. Not real confident. I wanted to get a bet on Clemson in there. Beef, Oklahoma minus 22, 465 Sluggo bucks. Coastal Carolina minus 13.5. He bet on this and the lot.
Is he out? How can he be out and we're not out?
I don't know.
I saw 400 Sluggo bucks on that. Auburn under 53 for 250 Sluggo bucks. Locks, first place. He can feel.
Again, Locks minus 11, 750.
How is that happening?
I don't know. Isn't he running the show? But how about UF? He went with the over 56. And Maryland minus 7.5, 250.
I'm sorry?
Losing you.
We were losing me there for a minute.
In Maryland, minus 7.5, 250 Sluggo bucks on that.
Perfect.
All right, fellas. I've tried to get a little better at this week. Beef,
That's great.
would you chopping beef tomorrow? You guys back on?
Theoretically.
Okay. Thank you for that synopsis. That was quick and timely. Because I got to get on and complain about how your internet's going to be so much better tomorrow. Because I think that makes JJ's night. It makes his whole.
It does make his night, no question. Oh wow.
Read it off. He's thrown it to you. You know that.
All right. Thanks to everyone in the Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite for all his help and support. John Chansey for his. John Chansey. Oh.
Yes.
I was just saying, Marty, thanks to everyone in the Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite for all his help and support. John Chansey for his work on Seldom Used Reserve. Everyone on Seldom Used Reserve, Sluggo Podcast. and each and every one of you who listens, likes, and shares, and participates. We love comments. So thank you guys very, very much for coming. On behalf of Marty, Seldom News Reserve Coleman, Zach Locks Parker, I am Casey the Beef Cregan. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next year. We'll see you next week right here on Sluggo.
Perfect.
I think done here.